Happy Monday, Saints fans. Hope y'all had a wonderful weekend. In today's show, we're going to break down Miami Hurricanes Pro Day as it is going to start this afternoon. And the New Orleans Saints are going to be very, very present at the Hurricanes Pro Day. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. Thank you so much for tuning into today's show. Welcome into Saints Now. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to get more Saints videos. So Nick Underhill, he put out some news and he put out a report that the New Orleans Saints will be present at Miami's Pro Day like I just mentioned. And I do think that this is worth monitoring and worth discussing because as we all know, the New Orleans Saints and Cam Ward, there's already been some chatter between two parties and we've already seen a little bit of hype and some Saints fans getting excited about the possibility of Cam Ward rocking the black and gold next year. Is it likely? I don't think so, but could it happen? Maybe, so we're going to discuss it. Luke Johnson also adding a little bit of context. All 32 teams, for what it's worth, will be at the Miami Pro Day this afternoon. But right here, the Saints will have a big presence in Miami today. Kellen Moore, both offensive and defensive coordinators, Doug Nussmeier and Brandon Staley will be there as well, among other people for the New Orleans Saints. And it's worth noting, obviously, Cam Ward is the big name, and he is the guy that a lot of people are going to have their eyeballs on. However, there are other draft targets that the Saints could be potentially looking at if they wanted to go this route. Now, obviously, Xavier Restrepo could be a really good option in the slot. I really like him as a round 2 selection. Damien Martinez is a solid running back. Elijah Arroyo and Tyler Barron, I should say, are both other options for the New Orleans Saints that could fill some positions of need. And when you have these pre-draft meetings and you have these guys out at these pro days, it doesn't mean that they're interested in one guy. Usually they're interested in a lot of players. And Miami was a really good football team in college football, which is why they were up for conversation and they were up into the college football playoff until they started losing games late in the season. And, you know, I will say this when it comes to Cam Ward, I think he'd be an excellent addition to the Saints roster. But it is a risky move to make nonetheless. So we're going to dive into what Cam Ward has had to say about the Saints. We're going to dive into more about the Saints and Cam Ward and also another quarterback they're meeting with. We're going to talk about it in a moment. But really quick, Factor Meals is back, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys are trying to eat healthy and optimize your nutrition this year, Factor is the place to do it. They have chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes. So you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Get started at factormeals.com/SaintsChat50 off and use code SaintsChat50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. Link is in the comments and description of this video. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared. Perfect for any active or busy lifestyle. Maddie and I, we are very, very busy people. She's doing a lot of freelance work, and I'm talking about the black and gold every single day. And we're a couple that likes to eat well and likes to have a date night. And I'll tell you what, Factor has added to those dinners, made them so much tastier. They're so much healthier. We feel so much better. And you can lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor Keto Meals based on a randomized controlled clinical trial with Factor Keto. Results will vary depending on diet and exercise, but with 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto meals. I love Factor because, like I said, my life is busy. So rather than having to hit the fast food drive-thru, I pop in one of my Factor meals into the microwave and have a delicious and nutritious dinner in just a few minutes. So head on over to factormeals.com/SaintsChat50 off and use code SaintsChat50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. I should say. Eat smart with Factor. That's code SaintsChat50 at factormeals.com/SaintsChat50 to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Link is in the comments and description, like I said. So let's get back on track and talk about Cam Ward here, because this quote, we've discussed it on the channel. It's already taken the Who Dat Nation by storm, I should say. It would be a dream of mine to play for the Saints if I get the chance someday. Cam Ward said this a couple weeks ago talking to media, I should say, about meetings and pre-draft meetings with Kellen Moore and how things have gone. And, you know, he even said that he was a fan of the Saints and he knew his history. He was talking about Marcus Colston and some of the other great players that were playing whenever he was a kid. And so, as we all know, like there is obviously mutual interest. The Saints are interested in Cam Ward because they've had they've had a pre-draft meeting, and now they are at his pro day. The meeting happened at the Combine, by the way. He also spoke highly about New Orleans, not just in terms of the meeting of Kellen Moore, not just about Marcus Colston and being a fan growing up, but like everything in between. Cam Ward on the Saints meeting said this: "It was a great meeting. If you get a chance to play for a Super Bowl winning coach like Kellen Moore, he knows how to dial up the playbook." I think the biggest thing I took away from that meeting was that you just have to be prepared at all times. Whether you go in as a starter or you go in as a backup, you never know when your number is going to be called. And I think that that is a really good thing coming from Cam Ward. One of the things I love about Cam Ward is the way he prepares, the way that his tape just turned out. Obviously, there were moments that he put Miami in a hole. I almost said put Miami in a hurricane. They are the Hurricanes. That's absolutely ridiculous. He put Miami in a hole, but then other times he was the same guy that dug him out of that hole and absolutely showed out. So Cam Ward on New Orleans, he loves the city. He loves the team. The Saints were one of his favorite teams growing up when he was little, and that's coming from the source himself. And I will tell you what, this is not a move that happens at number 9. A lot of people are going to sit here in the comment section. If you haven't already, I'm going to call you out for it. He's not going to fall to number 9. The Saints aren't trading up. This isn't worth the conversation. What are you doing, Trizzy? This is clickbait. Well, shut up. You know what you're talking about, because the Saints could opt to trade up. They don't have a succession plan in order or in place for the long-term future of the quarterback position. Derek Carr is in year 12 of his NFL career. You are not going to learn anything new in year 12 that you haven't learned over the first 11 seasons. So if you do want to go and trade up, it's not very likely, but it is likely. People have traded up, or teams have traded up from 9 to 1 before, and in fact, it happened pretty recently. Trading up to number 1 is going to be very costly. The Bears and the Panthers did it just a few years ago. We're going to dive into that in a moment, but I got to ask this question. Would you rather just trade up to 1 and get your pick, or stay put, keep the picks, and just draft a guy at 9? Because you still can add a quality player. And look, you're not going to be able to trade up anywhere but 1. Like, if you want Cam Ward, you got to go to number 1. In terms of the quarterback needy teams in the top 10, it's the top 3 picks. I wouldn't say the Raiders are a QB needy team. They traded for Geno. I wouldn't say the Jags. They got Trevor Lawrence. I feel like when it comes to the Saints and wanting Cam Ward and the possibility of trading up, you're going to have to go to number 1 overall. Because I can promise you this, if Cam Ward falls to number 2, he's going to be taken by the Cleveland Browns. I can also see the same thing with the New York Football Giants. I think the mix of this in any way you want to dice it up, it's Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, in any sort of order that you want to put it in. But you're going to have to trade up for 1 if you want to go to get Cam Ward. And what's that going to look like? Well, let's take the time machine back to 2023 when the Bears, they received a massive haul for the 2023 first-round pick. I mean, look at this. It's 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a bona fide wide receiver 1. So for the New Orleans Saints, are you willing to give up a first-round pick this year and a second-round pick this year, a first-round pick next year and a second-round pick next year, and then Chris Olave? Like, are you willing to get rid of that? That's what it's going to likely take, because this is the asking price, because it was so close, it's so recent, this is going to be the bare minimum. And it's important to discuss, is Cam Ward Kellen Moore's guy? Every quarterback, or every head coach, I should say, deserves the chance to work with their quarterback. Dennis Allen's quarterback was Derek Carr. He walked in with Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton. He said, Derek Carr's my guy. You live and you die by the sword. That's the sword Dennis Allen chose to fall on. Is Cam Ward the sword that Kellen Moore is going to choose to fall on? Because if you want Cam Ward, go get him. He's a talented football player. It's going to cost you a lot. It's very risky because you have a big-time need across your roster because you keep missing on draft picks and because you don't have a lot of high-end talent, because the draft picks keep missing. So do you want to say, you know what, we don't have a great history drafting, we're going to trade up and go get our surefire guy, our quarterback, we're going to develop him, and then we're just going to focus on building around him over the future and have that young, cheap quarterback that a lot of teams are finding success with? Because if you don't have to spend money on a quarterback, you can spend money elsewhere. So that's worth noting. I'm all in on being aggressive. I'm all in on, it doesn't matter what the other opinions of other fan bases think. If that's your guy, draft your guy. But is Cam Ward worth the risk for Kellen Moore? If he does not pan out, if you trade up to be the number 1 overall pick and get Cam Ward, I'm telling you right now, Derek Carr maybe gets 3 weeks to start. Maybe gets 3 weeks before people start calling for his name. And honestly, that's a very generous 3 weeks. I will tell you also this. If Cam Ward isn't the guy, Kellen Moore, you're probably out of here after a couple of seasons. So, this is a risky trade. Like, what did the Bears get when they got all of that haul in return? So, remember, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and DJ Moore. They got DJ Moore and Darnell Wright. So they added a wide receiver 1, and they added an offensive tackle. They got Tyreek Stevenson, a solid cornerback, and then Caleb Williams, the number 1 quarterback in arguably the last handful of draft classes. Oh, and they also got an extra pick. So all you would get is Cam Ward, and then let's just play the hypothetical. You get rid of Chris Olave. You get rid of this year's first and this year's second, next year's first and second. And who does that turn out to be? I'm not totally sure because we don't know, 1, who's going to be in the draft next year, 2, where the Saints going to be picking, and 3, whether or not this trade even goes down. So that's just worth discussing. Also worth discussing. You don't want Cam Ward? Okay, well, Albert Breer, he reported that the New Orleans Saints are going to be leaving the pro day in Miami to fly to Austin in order to have dinner with Texas Longhorns quarterback Quinn Ewers this evening. I think that that's interesting because, like Cam Ward, they also had a pre-draft meeting at the Combine. So we'll have to see whether or not the Saints want to trade up or whether or not they want to stay put at 9 and go a different route. And I'll tell you what, I was talking to my guy, producer Mustakas, about this. I don't love the idea of drafting a quarterback in the first 3 rounds. But 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe you can convince me. Maybe you could twist my arm, and I'm willing to have a conversation about it. Saints obviously don't have a 5th-round pick, so you're going to have to get creative with how you end up drafting your quarterbacks. This question is what I'm going to end it on. And I want context to be key here. I'm not asking which player is better. Which one would you rather have? I'm asking, if you want Cam Ward, are you going to go trade up and get Cam Ward? Or are you going to draft Quinn Ewers day 3 in round 6? No, make it easier. Day 2, round 4. So do you want to trade up to number 1 overall to get Cam Ward, or do you want to draft Quinn Ewers on day 2 in round 4? Let me know in the comment section. Day 3 in round 4. I'm tripping, dude. I'm tripping. You want to, that you get it. Trade up for Cam or stay put and you get Quinn Ewers when he falls to you? That's the question. I'm so sorry, guys. It's a Monday. Brain fog is a big-time problem, but that's not going to stop us from getting you guys content. Be sure to subscribe to Saints Now by Chat Sports. We'll probably have some more videos coming at you later this afternoon and this evening, so I hope to see you guys tune into those as well. Y'all stay golden. Have a happy week, and we will see y'all next time.